If Biden's budget were adopted, the national debt would exceed $50 trillion by 2033, and the debt to GDP ratio would surpass the record set after World War II. Peggy, surely the Republicans in Congress will not support this.
That's correct, Alan, and thank you for having me on. And thankfully, the Republican-led House won't support it either. It is a disease or an illness, as you say. I mean, it's just insane what they're proposing to do. And they know they can't spend their way into prosperity, and yet they continue to try it. And thankfully, the Republican Congress is going to stop this. But Ronald Reagan said it best, that government is the problem, not the solution. But this Biden administration continues to think that they are the solution, and more money into the economy with reckless spending is going to solve it. It's not. And the American people, and thankfully this Congress, know it.
That's right. I mean, Biden talks about a war on wealth. Here we've got it, $4.7 trillion in new and expanded taxes. Peggy, firstly, are Americans aware of this? Because it depends on the media and the way this is presented. And are Americans going to cop it?
Well, the American people only know pretty much what they're told. And if they listen to mainstream media, they're maybe celebrating this Biden budget because it talks about socking it to the rich, that you're going to tax millionaires and billionaires. And Joe Biden promises time and time again that this won't affect the ordinary Joe. Well, we know that those are empty promises and perhaps are even campaign promises. The American people aren't buying it because the numbers right now tell us that $94,000 is pretty much what every American owes, and that equates to $250,000 for every taxpayer on the federal debt where it is right now before we add additional spending. So people are paying attention to this. They're not buying Joe Biden's empty promises, thankfully, this time.
Well, I mean, that's exactly the situation here in New South Wales. This is debt on top of debt. But Peggy, I'll just come back to this. These are eye-watering figures. Now, over the next 10 years, Biden's budget will result in over $82 trillion in cumulative federal government spending, and this is funded by debt. Yet you've got middle class and lower income Americans struggling to afford gas and groceries and the mortgage. Where do they fit into all this?
Well, they don't. And Joe Biden has yet to acknowledge the pain and the harm that his budget priorities in the past have been causing the American people. The American people may not know the ins and outs and the line item of every dollar spent on the Biden budget, but they know the effects of those policies, and they've been feeling them for 2 years. The American people want this reckless spending to stop because they do know that it's harming them. They don't believe that it's only going to harm millionaires and billionaires because they're feeling it every day. So they're not buying this, and I don't think Joe Biden's going to be able to sell this to anybody, and certainly not a Republican-led House.